Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Sting Bug Works. Been working yesterday, did some stuff. Big B gets me. I haven't glued the first part on this, and he's got his ready to go. He's much more serious about this than I am, or more dedicated. Anyway, here's what I'm doing. I made a servo mount. Let's talk about how I made a servo mount. First, I cut out a piece of cardboard. Then, let's see, this side. I drew the servo on it. And I did something different with this servo mount than I normally do to see how I like it. And that's this. If you look at the mount, you see there's a whole bunch of hole below it. I used to cut these holes for the servo pretty tight, but then as the servo came in at an angle, hello, do I have a servo? As the servo came in at an angle, the opening had to be a little wider, and that width would crash on the meat I wanted for the screws. So what I did is I elongated the slot this way and made an opening here for the lead, so you can put the servo in here and slide it up and get it in, rather than trying to fight with it and lose the meat, where I have these nice little, these are M2.5s. So M2.5 lock nuts that will get epoxied in here with epoxy. And on this boat, I should use shredded carbon and not shredded fiberglass, just because, it's all carbon. Should keep it cool. So maybe I'll do that. But here's the deal with this. Now, because this thing tapers this way, it also tapers that way. I can get it in a number of locations by changing its left to right status. So I could put it back there, or I could move it out here. I could move it back there. I can move it up here. So I have some flexibility. So the controlling factor is going to be right here. And that's why I have this attached to it. So I'm going to go back and revisit the rudder. I had drawn it on here at one time, and I think I see the marks right there that was where I wanted the push rod to be in a horizontal direction. So that means the servo would go, but I want a little more sticking out so I can grab the rudder. Okay, so the servo is going to go right there. Or can I move it a little bit? But you see, doing it this way, it gives me the flexibility of moving things around by changing the lean angle and such. So it looks like it's going to go right there. So that's some thinking on that. So how I did it, I cut out a piece of cardboard. I drew the outline on the piece of cardboard, and then I went in with a little drill, and I just drilled all around inside that outline. I keep forgetting. You got to take this piece of cardboard, your template. Once you've cut out your template and you've cut it out and you're happy with it, then use rubber cement. Use rubber cement and glue that onto your piece of carbon fiber. And do it like it was contact cement. Paint rubber cement on the carbon fiber. Paint rubber cement on the template. Let it dry. Once it's dry to the touch, stick them together, and this thing's not going to move around while you drill all the holes. So there you are, making a template. Usually I don't go into a whole lot of how-to details. I just go into the where-to details. So there's how I'm going to do that. Now, one other thing. And I saw it the instant Big B was doing it. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to have the bellows on the inside, and it's going to be a bitch. It's going to be a bitch getting at this bellows, because it's going to be even harder in this boat than Big B's boat, but it's going to be a bitch. And I saw that going in, and I said, yeah, it's going to be a bitch. And I see it going in right here, and it's going to be a bitch. And I'm just going to have to live with it, because the effect is cool. So one other line of thinking, I've been thinking about, mounting the motor and such. Maybe it's time to throw that mount away and go back to thinking about a flat plate mount where I can get the motor up in here. There's a number of obstacles that gives me. Let's think about it. I want the flex shaft ending real close to the end of the collet coupler. So that means the stuffing tube is going to have to go up pretty close to the motor. And if the motor's cocked off like this, it's going to be hard to get at stuff. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to put in a flat plate motor mount. I'm going to have to mount the motor level. I'm going to have to run an S-bend in what will wind up being a fairly long cable. And here's the deal. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. If I'm running an S-bend, I can have a straight section, the S, and then another straight section. This straight section of stuffing tube could be removable. I could put the next size larger stuffing tube, cut this off, make a little sleeve that would fit over it so that I could put the motor in place, then put the last half of the stuffing tube in place, and then run the shaft up through it. The question is, how would I support it at this end? And I'm thinking I could have a carbon fiber support with a good snug fit, and that may work. I just hit an idea. Maybe I'll put a grommet in this end so that when I go to pull the shaft out, I could slide it forward, tilt it, and the grommet would allow some movement that way, because I have to be able to remove the shaft. So there's a whole bunch of pre-planning to do before I can even think about where the hell I'm going to put the motor to get the thing to balance. I've got to think about how I can make the flex shaft butt up against the coupler on the motor if the motor's up here hidden. So the motor's going to be up here, and hopefully the coupler will be sticking out enough that I can get, it's going to be a collet coupler, so I can get a couple of wrenches on it. So when I cut this out, I'll be able to get a wrench right up against there, so that the collet may be my limiting factor on the fore and aft. Everything depends on the motor. I have to wait for the motor to get here. I have another one installed in another boat, but I don't want to go to the trouble of pulling it out. It's a pain in the ass. So there you go, boys and girls. I think I've covered everything. The systems. I've shot the final coat of black on the hatch, and I still get specks of dust on it. This black is a really tough color to do because everything stands out. And so I'll tell you what I'm going to do on this boat. I am not going to clear coat it with, clear gloss. I'm going to clear coat it with clear flat. It's going to be flat black. What do you guys think of that? Until next time, boys and girls. One other thing. Mama Duck came back and hung out here all day yesterday. And last night around 6:30, right around sundown, Homie and I went out to have adult beverages and listen to entertainment. And there, walking around, was Mom and Dad. So I'll keep you posted on the story of the ducks. Until then, boys and girls, jet out.